Hello and welcome. This is the start of a new YouTube series that I'm going to be creating based on this layout, which is my portable show layout of Swanage Railway. Some of you might already know about this layout if you are already following me on Facebook. If you are not and you wish to see previous updates and keep track of new updates when I get round to releasing them, there will be a link in the description of how you can get to that page. But for this video, I am still doing the major reworks of parts of the rails and also converting from having legs to trestles. And this is all before the show within a month's time. As some of you would already know if you're on our Facebook page, we are going to Birchington on the 9th of April. And as you can probably already guess by the video, there's a section of track missing. If you've already noticed that, because I'm realigning the joins in the board. If you can see, the opposite rail is out of alignment by quite a bit. No train will run over that without the railing. The other side was a bit out as well, so that's what I'm going to be doing for this video. I've also got my tablet here, which you can see the track design on my Z21, which is how I operate all my point work. I've also got a few of my engines here for the show, like my 2-car DMU, my little 08 shunter and my Class 33. Also got some nice Southern birdcage stock right behind that with lights fitted. So yeah, these are my test locos and some of my Swanage stock. So here we have panel 4, which is our yard. So we can undo that bolt and this bolt, and then we can just slide to select what stock we want to take out the yard. Obviously it's all lined up for that line which has the track missing, so it's not getting far. So we'll just slide that back for now. To power this, we've got 2 cables hanging down from the layout, which go to my nice case down here, which is how it's all controlled. So we've got the Z21. I appear to have accidentally shorted out the rails. We've also got the Wi-Fi unit. We've got our 12 volt power supply and our 16 volt AC power supply. That all comes out to 3 plugs on the side, the cattle lead for the main power, and 2 4 cable plugs going up to the layout. Over in this part of the loft we've got panel 1, which is the end of the platform, followed by panel 2, which is the other end of the platform, and some of the old legs just resting against the thing that I've taken off. So yeah, I've done a lot of work on these panels. Unfortunately, not much scenic work has been able to happen because I've been doing mainly electrical works and track alignment works. Panel 1 is the only one that's got ballast on it mostly. I've left gaps so I can put the rest of the line side equipment in, like signalling and other bits of cabling and stuff. So until that's in, I am not going to be ballasting between the 2 lines. I've also had some major rework that I had to do on this bit, so I had to chisel away the ballast. So if you're going to glue down your tracks, here's a tip: make sure it's waterproof glue holding the tracks down. I made that error. So as the ballast went down and I put the water down PVA glue in, the glue holding the tracks near the end of the board came loose and it raised by a couple mil. So I had to chisel back some of the ballast and relay the glue, or relay the tracks. The other side, during my chiseling back, I damaged the rail, so I had to replace a section of rail. So just a note, if you do glue your tracks down, make sure it's waterproof. So no improvement since the previous show we've done is we've now got a new turntable control module back here. So we've got easier control over our turntable now. Which I do hope to have working better by the show. I've also got the road markings on our bridge, which was a nice little sticker pack and quite tricky to put on for a first time. Also got the lovely signal box over there, which I cannot turn the lights on because the switch unit is actually on panel 2. But hopefully today, or right now I suppose, I'll do a quick flick through of all the point work on this panel, make sure it's all working. Can't go through all the sets because the other two sets are on the other panels. So we'll just bring up our control of this particular panel. Now I've been told quite often why did I bother going for these little points as well, but I went for them because I liked the idea of having the derailment points. And the fact that I went to the effort of actually putting a point motor under them as well just shows I wanted to go into the detail of it. Okay, we'll just lift out this bridge. Test the next set points. They seem to be working, mostly. Okay, the ones that go into the soldering on the opposite side. Ugh. There we go. They seem to be working. Cross over between the tracks. Now, since the last show, I have actually redone the point work on that panel to make it more of a smooth line coming across rather than a snake like trail, which was causing me no end of issues. But to see those all flicking over perfectly, if I don't flick them too quickly and just don't let the thing charge up. Now, controlling those points, we'll take a quick peek underneath the layout. Where's the unit? There's the unit. One of these. I am using a Lens LS 150 unit. It's got 6 outputs, which is convenient because I'm using 6 outputs on this layout because I've got 6 sets of points. So yeah, that's what runs the points. We've got the ribbon cable going for the turntable control module. Powering the turntable is one of these units now. And that sits on 3D printed brackets that are screwed, or it's screwed onto them, and they are glued onto the turntable. On this layout, I'm just using standard solenoid point motors made by Pico. And over here, this is one of the Train Tech relay units that I've got 5 of on this layout. Really good. They take track power and the information from the track to switch them, and then you just loop your power feed of choice through the other end and it controls from there. Really cool bit of tech that I'm going to be using a lot more. So back to today's task in mind, and that is this section. Hopefully I'll be able to do it in one go, but I've also got to lift this side, which is already loose by it appears, which is what has moved. This time I'm going to be doing it differently. I'm going to grind the top of the screws here and solder them to these screws that I used to use just for height adjustment under the sleepers. Much like I've done over here to these tracks, but I wasn't going to do it to the scenic side because I didn't want to do it there. Try to make it look like I did minimal. Sorry, not that. I just didn't want to have the appearance of soldered to screws. But this is the 3rd time this particular section has lifted. So this time I'm actually going to go all the way and do it that way. Other features on this particular layout are these. Back of each panel, just 2-port USBs wired onto my 12-volt bus line. One on each panel, so we've got another one here. We've got a switch here that does my lighting on this panel, which have also been put in new covers, which were 3D printed and designed by me. We've got another little switch at the back here, and this one cuts power from this point to the end, so flicking it down isolates that section just in case you get a train that's running off and you can't control it. So you can just cut the power to the end. When it gets there, it will run out of power and stop before hitting the end of the line. So this is the current state of the layout. Okay, so that is that track re-lined up. Seems pretty level and in line. I'll just borrow one of these coaches. Okay, that's a problem. Okay, after finding out a little bit there was a dip right there before the point, and it was sufficient enough that the coaches were unhappy and derailing as they were coming over. So I'm just going to test changing lines. And see how that affects anything, if it does. So this will be lining up for platform 1 of the station, which is the short one, rather than platform 2, which is the main platform used. Let's stop before I get to the end of the layout. Now, I will go and change those points to run back into this siding, but I know that this track still hasn't been aligned. So I'll return the train back to its siding and start getting to work on this one. But at least that one should now be a stronger hold than it was before. So and for the safety of the track, I'm going to cut the power to the trains. Right, let's stop. And I just realised I don't really need to clean the glue off, I just need to raise these up. Now I'll get the Dremel again, and I'll probably come back through this opening, as it's the easiest place to set up. Don't forget the safety glasses. There we go. Now I just need to go and grab my soldering iron again. Okay, some fine adjustments with a screwdriver. Which should bring it in acceptable range. Okay, bit of solder on either side of that. Helps with the adhesion. And it makes sure when I solder, I'm soldering to the bit that I ground down to give it better contact. Okay, so now we just have to put this track piece back into place. Track's now in the fish plates. Now what I've got to do is apply heat and pressure to get it to where I need it to sit. Yeah, that looks in line. Now I just got to do the other one. Well, that fell in line and really hot for obvious reasons. So I'll just get rid of that. We can zoom out the camera and get this train rolling again. Obviously it's on the wrong track at the moment, so we'll have to go around the switch tracks. Which the camera stand's going to get in the way of. Okay, very strong switch. Let's back her up nice and steady. See how we did. Or how I did. Okay, slight flicks or short circuit there. But I think I know what that is. I'm going to temporarily kill the power. Just nudge that slightly. I've had an issue on this frog before where this whole rail here on this side has come off. I don't think I got it perfectly realigned when I put it back in. So quite often when an engine goes over it, I hear the short circuit sound where the wheels are breaching the two bits. I mean, I've paired it against other tracks and points like this one opposite, but it doesn't look too different. So it's one of these things I'm playing by ear at the moment. One of these days when it goes over, it's going to cause complete short circuit. Well, those bits of rolling stock seem happy going over that. Let's bring it straight back again. And that's what I was talking about. I have just been short-circuited by that point, which is irritating for me because I've got to go and try and figure that out. Otherwise, that's going to hinder the operation on an open day or a show, I mean. And it was the loco wheel that did it. So I've got to figure out some way of getting a bigger gap between this frog, and the only way I can think of doing that is killing the power before I put the pliers in that gap. Just pull this back slightly, make a bit of a gap between those two bits. That rail also seems to be sitting high. But that could just be me. That could just be me. Right, re-enable the power and let's run the engine back across. Okay, we're still getting that issue. But oddly, only in that direction. Okay, so if anyone out there has had this sort of an issue before, and you know how you fixed it, please let me know. I'm going to keep tampering with this point, but it might end up to a need for a brand new point to go in there instead. Which is a last resort because it would mean I'd have to remove certain aspects of this area. So, hoping to fix, not replace. So, it's something that's been troubling me for the last couple years because I think that's still an original point. In fact, this whole area is still all original, so it was only that area up there that I reconfigured with the mainline points. Are you going to go around that fine, or are you going to short circuit on me? Went round. Obviously at the show we'll be running 4 coach trains. I'm considering bringing these birdcage ones because they are a nice set of mine. So yeah, I mean those two at the back, the 08 and the DMU, will both be attending the show on this layout, as they are particularly bought for this layout. The Class 33 will also be attending. So, yeah. This is a look at some of the repairs I'm having to conduct. This one is now a higher priority because I can't have that shorting out, otherwise I'm going to be using that point less at the show and intentionally avoiding it with some trains. So I'm just going to try this somewhat my 2-car unit out. Ow. Engine wasn't fully clear. So let's select the siding with the 2-car DMU. Now, if you have already noticed that these two tracks aren't lined up, that's for a reason, because this one, this one, this one, and this one are all mainline sidings. At the show, we run these two full of engines and these 4 with coach rakes. I'm pointing at the wrong siding, ignore that one. This one and this one line up with this track because at Swanage they have 2 sidings after a point that should be about here. As we don't have the point because we had a slider here, only this track and this track, as you can see down this one, they curve back in line with these to match up with that end bit. So these 2 are the odd ones out, and they take over for the 2 sidings that would be on this stretch coming off of here. As this one goes off to the main line, and on the actual railway it would curve round going up a hill off into the distance towards the next station. So we've got a bit of variety. We've got this track, and these other tracks that will line up to this one only. So we'll just run this one out. All the trains on this board are sound fitted. I'm just not enabling the sound for testing. So if you've been on the Facebook page, you'd recognise their 2-car unit, the Class 33, and maybe even the 08 from previous videos I've uploaded. This series was a request from someone else on the Facebook page. I mean, this unit is going to be going for platform 1 quite often because it's a shorter train. So I'll probably have a 4-car or maybe even a 5-car, depending on how we operate on the day. Oh dear, that wasn't supposed to happen. Must have jolted as it came over the uncouplers on the approach. New features since the last show. These bolts have now become bigger. I'll grab one of the old ones. So here's an old one to compare. That's what I used to have on this end. And now we have this more beefier version. Needed because that old one had a bit of play, so it wasn't always a firm lock. To add to that, I did not have a bolt on the opposite end. So the bolt on this end is completely new. So minor changes that I had to make. Hope you enjoyed this video. As I've said already, feel free to subscribe and follow the Facebook page or like the Facebook page, whatever one you want to do. And I'll see you in the next video. I'm not going to say when the next video is going to go up because it'll go up once I have sufficient content to put up. At the moment, I'm just conducting repairs and adjustments to the layout. I'm not focusing on the scenics until I get the whole thing operational again. So, till a time when I am satisfied that it's all working, and I'll have to do a full length test, which might end up being the next video. Once I've got these two panels operating amongst each other well enough, and I've tried digging into this issue on this point, because if that issue persists, keeps going, I'll be limited by what stock I can run over this connection. And yeah, at the moment the 33 and those 3 coaches are a risk going over that, because as you've already seen, they've shorted me out once. Don't want that happening at an actual show, so got to do some digging, see what I can find out. Thank you for watching.